The relegation tour continues with a home defeat to Brentford. Only 2 games to go. Now it was Ipswich 0, Brentford 1. Welcome to Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast. Dave, the first ever Blue Monday podcast was covering Brentford versus Ipswich, wasn't it?
Two late equalisers, was it? Was it 2-2? I got that right?
Yeah.
Two late equalisers.
Only one of them was an equaliser, but I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, was it? Okay.
2 late goals, yeah.
Two late
goals, yeah. Egan was one. I remember that, I think.
Andre Gray?
The 8th of August, 2015.
I think you're probably right. That would be
Those
right.
guys did there with a
that
day.
Would be about it. Yeah.
My sister's wedding day, I didn't go.
What, to the wedding or the game?
The wedding.
Yeah.
There you go. Ryan Fraser and Freddie Sears starting a month of playing absolutely beautiful.
Oh, delightful.
There you go. Someone says Tarkovsky in the chat there.
That might be right.
Don't know. I'm just procrastinating here. Dave, another frustrating day, and we're going to talk about. We're diving in. Get across to the IFAB website for the segment in about 10 minutes' time, guys. Is all I'll say.
I think everybody's got an opinion on that one. Yeah, everybody. And I just said before we went live.
You're going to stop there, Dave.
Oh, hang on a minute.
We've got a run in here. Look there. The star of the show. I don't think he can hear us. So Joe Fairs, if you're listening on the audio, has just received a Tuan Zabi 40 shirt, which may give away a recent birthday. Can you say thank you to your beautiful son for us, Joe?
Yeah, thanks to Teddy for delivering that.
What does that say on the back, Joe?
To Joe.
Happy
birthday from Axel Tuanzebe.
There we go.
All my special bits on there as well.
I feel like Noel Edmonds here. A lovely surprise from the Blue Monday team for our very own Joe Fairs. And before Craig gets cross, happy 50th to Craig very recently as well. And he's probably saying, where's my Steve Witten shirt? But there you go, Joe. Happy birthday.
And the last time there's a player of my age, the squad number, I'd imagine.
Oh, no, you're a squad number pervert. It will keep following up, won't it?
No, excellent. Thanks, guys. Thanks to everyone.
Oh, no, you're very, very welcome. Are you able to talk now, or have we put you all off kilter? Hello,
emotional. Ready to go.
He's ready. He's off kilter. Look, he's all emotional, isn't he?
I'd have been. Yeah.
He's done.
Finished me.
He's done for the whole show. Frustrating one yesterday, Joe.
Yes, it was, and the game was just such a frustrating watch, wasn't it? I think McKenna sort of summed it up quite nicely with his VAR comments afterwards, and how I think we saw it from that very first away game of the season where Leif Davis catches Savinho in the box and Savinho just sits down on the floor and just sits down until the ref goes and looks at VAR, and 5 minutes later the same thing happens the other end and we just carry on and get playing again, where now they just put so much pressure on the referees to do things. And the way you sort of see all that manhandling going on in the box yesterday, and you look at it and you think, well, what's the downside? If you're the attacking side, you can manhandle like this the whole game, and if they fight back and give away a penalty, it's a massive game-changing moment. And if the ref gives a free kick against you, so what? You lose a set piece. It's not a big deal. And it does seem, I say everyone, I'm not sort of singling out Brentford here, but in the Premier League, every team is they're just like professional cheats, aren't they? Every part of the game is in the ref's ear, holding your head, going down, delaying the game so you get this, putting pressure on for VAR, finding out these little methods that, like I say, when a player goes down and rolls around holding their face, you're trying to get someone sent off, but there's no punishment, there's no flip side punishment. Actually, we're going to book you for feigning a head injury. You just don't get that. So
it's never really a head injury.
No, and
you probably sue for that.
But if somebody pushes someone in the chest and then that player goes down holding their face, then that player can get sent off. But the punishment for the guy that holds there is no punishment for trying to con the referee, and it is just a game of just conning all the time, and that sadly we're going to have to get better at this when we're hopefully back in the Premier League in 2026. That's what we're going to have to do, get better at. And it's sad to say you need to get better at cheating, conning, playing the referees, but we definitely had to.
Yeah, I was going to make that point. 36 games in, and we just haven't learned how to do that at all. We just haven't. Maybe that does come with season upon season of obviously stabilisation and being in the Premier League.
You're
itself.
right there, mate.
But yeah, it does. But we haven't learned. We're just not smart enough. We're really not.
Yeah. What is that quote about? You're either a hero or you. What is it? You live long enough to become the bad guy. Well, someone put that quote in there.
Have to be a villain.
What is it? From Batman? Something like that. You know, I always get my quotes from the wrong place. Welcome to Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast. If you are listening on the audio, do check out the YouTube video because we did just have a brilliant run-in from Joe's beautiful son with an Axel Tuanzebe shirt for his 40th birthday there with the number 40. Sorry, John, outing your age here repeatedly. Do go and check that out on YouTube. A lovely, wholesome moment in a rather turgid relegation tour here. But
I can honestly say I don't think I've got a squad number, so we'll move on.
We'll get you one.
Maybe if Trent Alexander could come here after a couple of years in Madrid, Dave.
Get him in. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here live on YouTube. Get the debate going in the comments. Get your thoughts on everything that happened yesterday. If I can just wish our friend Colin well, who apparently had a nasty fall and missed the game at the weekend. So we hope you're feeling good, Colin, as well. And that can be the end of the public service announcements because we've got a defeat to talk about here, and it was Ipswich 0, Brentford 1, and Brentford having a nice little run. I think before the season, Joe, we were all a little bit worried for their sake that it was the end of an era, and Ivan Toney had been such an iconic player for them, and would they start to struggle? But with our the 17 theory, they have a team now full of players experienced at this level. To be fair to them, they've brought plenty of them up and kind of developed them as they've gone very, very well. And this was a 4th straight away win, and they actually end the day 8th place in the table. Joe, just your take on Brentford at large going into the game, and maybe Dave, I'll do the team with you.
Yeah, I think you could easily make a point that of the 17 Premier League teams, they maybe have the weakest squad when you look at it player for player compared to their rivals. But what they have got is a fantastic manager, Thomas Frank, and obviously Matthew Benham and all the brains behind them. And whilst they may have on paper the weakest squad, they have probably the most sort of, I don't know what's the word, sort of the best chemistry in their squad, the best balance, the best what they need for how they want to play. Just they are such a almost like perfectly run club, aren't they, for punching above their resources? And I'd be interested to see wage bills and bits like that. They're obviously going to be higher than us, but I'd be very surprised if their wage bill is higher than your Wolves or your Evertons or teams like that who have traditionally been at the bottom of the league. Crystal Palace, they are just a fantastically run club, doing brilliant things under a brilliant manager. And even yesterday, they just find a way to win the game, move on, and 8th place, and they look like they're probably going to have a little European sojourn next season, don't they?
Yeah, good luck to them. Close to the airport there in West London, aren't they? Dave, I'm counting these. If someone can correct me in the chat, I think there is actually only 2 in the starting 11 that were in the EFL. I think it's only Norgard and Buemo who were there in the EFL. But someone
really, and Buemo was there. Buemo was there with them.
And Buemo was signed for like £5 million when he was about. People don't realize he was like 20 years old.
Didn't
when he
realise
was
that.
really young.
Wow.
And they actually developed him through the EFL and into the Premier League. So it was Flecken, Coyote, Collins, Vandenberg, Lewis Potter, Norgard, Yarmalik, if that's how I'm pronouncing that, and Buemo, Damsgaard, Sharda. Dave, you going to do it, or do you want me to?
Well, he's a smooth operator.
And Visser up top. So they've actually got 2 strikers closing up on 15, 20 goals, haven't they? So that's the Brentford 11. I don't want to go all in on Brentford too much, Dave, but I do think it's a significant conversation bearing in mind what we want to do. Yeah, we do look like Miami Vice. Whoever just said that in the chat. I'll take that burial. Yeah, Dave. Sorry, just quickly on that Brentford team and what we're learning here.
Yeah, again, full of athleticism, some very, very nice footballers in there that love that Damsgaard. I mean, someone said it was quite funny. So one for the oldies. He said, "Lovely footballer, looks like Albert Steptoe, but a lovely footballer," and he absolutely is. And again, as I said, two big centre backs. What an athlete that right back is, that Coyote. What an athlete he is, strong.
He was really good, wasn't he?
Oh my God. And I tell you, impressed me yesterday as well. Lewis Potter playing in that left-sided role, I thought was really, really good. So, yeah, I think if we'd have, I don't know, if they hadn't, we'll get onto the goal and scored like 18 minutes, but if they hadn't have scored, were they playing in largely second gear or not after that? Hard to say. I think we gave a good account of ourselves second half, but yeah, a good, experienced, strong, we say it every week, athletic side.
And just to kind of make the point a lot of people have made to us about recruitment, keeper, Netherlands, centre-back, Netherlands, full-back, Italy, central midfield, Ukraine, and Denmark. Obviously, big links with Denmark. The 10 is Danish. Okay. Brian Bremo is Cameroon. I thought he was French. There you go.
It's Cameroon.
And Chada is German, and Visser is Dr. Congo.
League on the football ramble. Proper League of Nations. Yeah, hasn't Flecken made the most stops in the Premier, I think, this season? I'm sure I saw that stat as well. He's made the most saves. Yeah, like I said, very good, solid.
The point I'm making, Dave, you can't get the best French player, but you can get the best Danish player. Can't you?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, some value for money. Yeah. Didn't Damsgaard flash one in the top corner at Wembley? Didn't he?
Yeah, in the semi-final, wasn't it?
That's right, he did, didn't he? Yeah,
the free kick, was it? Oh, that was him. There you go. I don't know if they signed him by then, had they? I can't remember. But yeah, they've always had the big Danish links because, as Joe said, anyway, it's turned into bloody besotted Brentford podcast.
And just
Matthew Benham owns the club.
Michelin,
And Michelin, that's in Denmark.
Keith Andrews, their set piece
I think he's
coach,
quite highly rated at that gig as well, isn't he? From what I understand. I mean, Joe, you might have a better view on that. Data.
Well, it's hard to tell, but I think anyone who's doing that job at a team like Brentford, you've got to be good to be doing it, because then they don't hang around and keep people in there. They're a very well tuned machine, and yeah, they were just an excellent team. And we've said it before, that was a team. The team that they came up from the Championship with had been built over 2 or 3 years to get into the Premier League, and also when they came up, it was easier to stay up than it is now. It's the gap has got a lot bigger, hasn't it now? But they've done brilliantly and.
Joe, one thing quickly, sorry to interrupt you, mate. One thing they did do in season 1 when they were up Brentford, they did go direct and stick long throw-ins and work on their set play. And because do you remember probably under Dean Smith in the Championship, they were a little bit tippy-tappy, have tons of possession and finish 11-4, like kind of Graham Potter in the Championship, weren't they? They did do what a lot of people kind of jarringly say we should have done. Oh, get it forward, be a bit more hard to beat, and kind of use Tony in that way. So I don't know. They are, but I do agree with you. It's getting exponentially more difficult to stay up every year. They've
sold some players for big money, haven't they? Again, when you look back, Mopai and obviously Tony and Watkins. I mean, all of them. Yeah, amazing. What a model. Yeah, again, that's the model, isn't it? I guess.
There you go, Joe. Here's your model, Ipswich Town 11, Palmer in goal. Axel Tuanzebe, if only anyone could find a signed shirt from him.
Oh, look at that.
You got to watch this week on video, not audio. We love you if you're listening on audio, though, of course. Tuanzebe and Greaves, O'Shea, Burgess, Morsey and Taylor, Hutchinson, Chaplin and Ciso, Liam Delap, Ole. Your thoughts on that 11?
Yes, it was unchanged bar Tuanzebe in for Wolfenden, wasn't it? So I think that is seen as our best. Tuanzebe's our best right back, and when he plays, O'Shea plays centrally. Like, you're not going to leave either of those two on the bench if they're fit, which is a shame for Luke Wolfenden, who's done really well whenever he's played this year. He hasn't really had a bad game, I wouldn't say, but that they are the first choice. So yeah, it's just getting yourself back up to first choice levels. Obviously, we've had it again. Calvin Phillips has come on against Everton, played 20 minutes, and then he's nowhere to be seen the following week. So it's just, I know it's been mentioned here, but that loan spell is just fading out into nowhere, really, isn't it? Other than that Everton game, he just hasn't played for weeks and weeks on end. He comes on, plays one game, and then isn't available for the next one.
Right. Let's get into this then. At what point did Brentford score? What minute is
18.
it? 18. Yeah. Do you want to take us up to the goal, Dave, or go straight to the goal? And we'll have to, if you're going straight to the goal, I need you to, okay, put a full stop on it and someone can explain exactly the order of events. Yeah.
No, I'll take you up to go. No, we start okay. Hutchinson puts in a good ball. I think Delap should do better with a header. I think it's a good ball. He swings it back on the right, swings it back on his left foot. Cole's in a really good cross, and I think Delap should do better there. He's about, I don't know, 10 yards out, gets across his man, gets a decent header on it, but straight at the keeper. He's got to hit the corner there. And yeah, I thought overall yesterday Delap was really poor. Whether he looked like he checked out, I know he's again playing that lone role largely against two massive units, but yeah, his touch was off, and he to me he looked just completely off it yesterday. Yeah, and Brentford obviously, had after that sort of scene, had a lot of the ball, and as leading up to the goal, the corner, the catalogue of corners, let's just say,
it's a collective noun for corners. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, they were coming more and more into it, more and more.
A cluster F.
A cluster F, I think. Yeah. And then get up to the again, I think Palmer was unduly troubled. I don't think till then, up until the 18th minute, and it's I'll set the scene.
About the 12th minute, isn't
it? Well, it had seemed to. Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And it starts with an in-swinging corner from the right-hand side from their set-piece play, Mbeumo.
So, do you want to do this then, Joe? I need you to. I wasn't.
Set him up. Go on, Joe.
Do you know what? I was in Ipswich yesterday, but not at the game. I went to visit my my dad and my sister and little cousin Max. I got tantalisingly close, but I wasn't there. So explain to me in order what happened here.
So a corner comes in, and it looks like Greaves and I can't remember who's up against. Collins, is it wrestling? Vandenberg are wrestling, and they both end up on the deck. And then the ref sort of orders for the corner to be retaken, and you can't really tell why. And then all of a sudden, there's a VAR check for a penalty, and it seems
so
that
he's
VAR
buying time, is he?
Yeah, I don't really get what had happened, because he didn't seem to give a free kick or a penalty. He just stopped play and ordered the corner to be retaken.
Where did the ball go when the corner went in?
Just into the box.
Yeah, and Palmer got a sort of half a punch to it, didn't he? I think. Yeah, the ball was just.
And then all of a sudden it was take the corner again, and then it was a VAR check, and we looked, and there was no penalty given. And when we looked, I think online, basically Greaves is already on the deck, or Greaves and Vandenberg are already on the deck before Mbeumo actually kicks the ball. So it's deemed not a foul, and it probably was one, because the ball wasn't in play at the time of it happening. So the foul had finished by the time it was taken. And then they go to take the corner again. On this one, the whistle goes very similar time to when it's actually taken. I haven't watched it back to check exactly when it goes. And he then, at this point, books Taylor and Damsgaard, I think it is. Well, Taylor's offence seems to be, Norgard, was it? His offence seems to be just being chucked on the floor by Norgard, and they both get a yellow card. And then it's take the corner again. And I presume it was seen as the ball still wasn't in play by the time he stopped it. And then the third corner comes in, and as you'd expect, it ends up in the back of our net. Schade makes a great run to the front post, and it's a brilliant header and loops into the goal. And it's been a really, really good header, but poor to concede. It just felt like it was coming, and it was just so frustrating. It just seemed like there's just so much, as I was saying at the start of the pod, there's so much grappling and so much wrestling going on. I think Brentford and Arsenal have been the two teams for it, where you watch the games, you just think, like, this isn't allowed. But as I was saying at the start of the pod, what's the downside if the ref gives it? You give away a free kick. That's the worst that can happen. And if it goes your way, you get a penalty, which is a massive game-changing 0.79 XG, biggest chance of the game, isn't it? So you can see why they do it. But it was so slow. Every set piece and every corner and every throw, and there was just so much going on in there.
So Dave? What should have happened? The thing I'm struggling to understand is this first corner. I still haven't got a sensible answer where the ball went. If the ball was in
ball's
play,
well, the ball, I think the first corner, Palmer gets like half a punch to it, and the ball just drops round the 6-yard box. I think that's the first corner. Yeah, because the second corner doesn't really get anywhere, does it, Joey? Puts that in because he blows for that as soon as I don't think he barely takes the second corner. So yeah, the Palmer gets half a punch on the ball, and the ball's just bobbling about in the box, and he blows.
so that
I still say
if he'd restarted it from there, Dave, that would have been a bounce in the penalty box, would it?
I assume so.
Okay,
I still
right,
say
I understand now.
Had the ball been live, I think Greaves is pretty lucky. I think that was a penalty. If you look back at it, I think that's a penalty. But yeah,
And we think, Dave, sorry to interrupt, mate. We think if the ball's not in play, Greaves would be booked for a foul, but a penalty wouldn't be given. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can get booked at any point, but you can't give a free kick.
It wouldn't have been a penalty, right?
Without the ball in play.
Okay.
This is bloody confusing.
I mean, I confused the hell out of me, but it was just the inevitability after the second corner and the Taylor Norgard shenanigans. It was such an inevitability. Then it goes to the third corner. But now the crowd are getting edgy. They're getting very edgy about this. And the third corner just had that scene of inevitability about it. It's a good delivery from Mbeumo. Quite clever. I think they analysed it a bit on Match of the Day last night. It's quite clever movement from Shardy. Sort of starts from Palmer's shoulder. He's on Palmer's shoulder on the goal line, and as Mbeumo about to strike the kick, he moves back into play, 6-yard box. It's a brilliant jump. I think again he gets, I think Delap gets perhaps caught under the ball, and he gets a brilliant jump, hell of a leap. Strange position from O'Shea, but again, I don't think O'Shea's really marking a post there. He's perhaps zonal marking there. If he's on the post, he heads that clear, but he's caught in an odd position. And
still going to be really difficult to head it, even if you're on the post.
It's a loopy one, isn't it? It's a really good header. He gets up really high, and he just sort of loops it over Palmer. I don't think Palmer's got any blame there, and it just loops in pretty much in the top corner on the roof of the net, really. Like I said, it was so inevitable that could have written the script on that one.
Dave, remind me to come back to you about our inability to defend corners for the past 3 months. So, Joe, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but what I'm understanding is the issue you've got is that the delay on the corners is all kind of a ploy. There's lots of running around, lots of pulling and tugging to kind of draw the referee's eye, and it can only really go one way and benefit one team. Do you think did the referee it the wrong way? Do you think he should have given a bounce, or do you think it was just the general theatre of all of the corners that they're delayed and they're slow and okay, have another one? What could or should the referee have done differently?
I think it's one of those which we've spoken about before, where if you look individually at every decision, you can make an argument as to say they're all correct, but it does just feel like each week you're on the wrong end of all these little decisions going against you. And we have it again this week, where Enciso breaks clear and he's dragged down and there's no yellow card for the breakaway one. And it's just, I know I hate moaning about refs. It feels like it's all I'm doing at the moment, and it just feels like I say we maybe because we're just not as good at managing the referees as these other teams are, but we just seem to be on the wrong end of a hell of a lot. I just can't imagine in any way that what happened to Brentford happening to us at the other end. I just can't imagine that we keep given the same opportunities as they do on it. And I say it's just massively frustrating. And like I say, I think someone did put in a comment like, "Oh, do you not think Enciso's a cheat?" And we don't. And so, like when I'm saying Brentford and other teams are a team of cheats, I'm not saying we aren't at all. We're not angels. We're not perfect. We're just not as good at it as they are. That's the thing. We're not a honest team where we do it, and we if we can get any advantage, we will do it. We're just not very good at doing it, as you see when like Jacob Greaves goes down holding his head when Kulusevski goes and scores and stuff. We're just not very good, but we have not worked out how to play these Premier League refs, and that's part of the game. Sadly, it is, but we need someone there. You see every time the stoppage team play, it's their players go around the ref when they're going off at half time. It's their players talking to them. It's there, and this isn't Brentford. This is every week, and we just need to, I don't know, get a little bit cuter on it.
And this is probably one day for all you people who complain about VAR and you're looking forward to not having it in the EFL next season. Well, refereeing is different when VAR is there in the Premier League than it is in the Championship. And maybe if you want to get good at that, you need to be playing in games where there's VAR and you know how to work the situation. So as much as and you know, I've given my thoughts on it plenty of times. As much as people will rejoice at the lack of VAR next season, it's not helpful because you need practice if this is a skill that the 17.
Well, you do, and you're quite right. And you flip it around. We just don't do it on attacking corners, do we? We're not. Joe's quite right. We're just not smart enough. We're not cute enough yet. We haven't learned that yet. Maybe our delivery isn't quite as good either, perhaps in some respects. And I saw someone in the chat there questioning what our set piece coach. Well, yeah, probably there is an argument there that perhaps he hasn't. We haven't certainly haven't been up to scratch.
Talk to me about that, because we seem to have lost our way defending corners. I know there's the caveat you were saying to me in the green room that some of them are mitigated by the fact we were playing with 10 men and the players were so struggling to just hang on in
some
game
of them
and just lost their concentration.
Joe said that, don't forget some of them, like the Newcastle one, the Burn goal was just we're playing with 10 men and it was a short corner, wasn't it? Just really well worked, a Trippier, clip ball, back post, banging in. That's happened more. That's happened to us more than once. But it's just a bit worrying that since I think up to the Man U game, which was that mid to late January, I don't think we barely conceded from a set piece goal. But I think since then, I think Rich posted it up before the start. We're up for 13 set piece goals, which I think is the most. Pretty much the most in the division, I think. So yeah, something's not quite right. However, VAR aside, looking back, look, we conceded 60-odd goals in the Championship last year. I'm sure a few of them must have been from set plays. I can't remember off the top of my head. So we're scoring so many at the other end, but I bet they must have been, sort of thing, So yeah, there really is an issue there. But certainly in the attacking sense, as Joe quite rightly said, at both ends, we're just not smart enough. We haven't learnt the dark arts yet. And I did learn a new phrase yesterday. New phrase came up.
Was it a bit of both?
No, not a bit of both. Not there or thereabouts. Mutual holding. What do you think of that one then? Mutual holding.
Would you like to explain to the Blue Monday audience what mutual holding is?
Is this VAR? The VAR.
Is this clean, Dave?
It's an actual Tuanzebe one, wasn't it?
It was mutual holding. Was knocked back due to mutual holding. There you go.
Mutual holding. So if both players are, sorry,
which I suppose would have been the Taylor and Norgard thing. It was mutual holding.
But they both got booked.
I know.
I don't know. So it's not a foul if both players are doing it.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
It was a beauty, absolute beauty, that one.
Mutual holding. Don't put that one up from Gary and Richard. That was where my joke was gonna go. Filth. Who's been circulating this filth? How did we respond to the goal, Joe?
We didn't really bounce back from there. I thought Brentford was sort of pretty on top for most of the game up until maybe sort of 70 minutes or so before we really came back and did a huge amount. They were happy to sort of hold the ball at the back and just pass it around without really threatening too much either. I don't think they had another chance straight after, and they when Mbeumo got in and he just sort of scuffed it, tried to take it with his right foot and sort of scuffed it, and Palmer easily saved it. And there wasn't much more than that. And then in the second half, Wissa had a shot. We had another from a throw and another VAR check on that one, which is some more mutual holding between Axel Tuanzebe and the other one. Where that looked like it could be a penalty as well. When you look at it, I think he got away with one a little bit there. But then sort of that last 15, 20 minutes, like George Hurst comes on, looked good. Delap hadn't had his best game yesterday, and I thought George Hurst looked good when he came on. I thought it was Luke Wolfenden coming on at first when I saw him on the sideline because he's got a new bleach blonde hairdo. And so we're there, and from that point, sort of Amari Hutch, like Chaplin had gone off. I think he'd struggled a little bit, and we had sort of Clark come on for him. But at that point, Amari Hutchinson and Ciso on both sides.
Was injured, Joe. Is that true?
He was sick, I think. Apparently, he went down. He went down injured, but he'd been ill the night before or sick the night before and couldn't carry on. But yeah, we played really well. Sam Morsey does a brilliant piece of footwork in the middle of the pitch to break out. Plays the ball out to Enciso, who releases Jack Clark, and it finds its way across to Amari Hutchinson, who sort of beats his man down the side and has a shot which Flecken tips onto the post, and it goes behind for a corner. And then a little bit later, Burgess has a
that's the one
really big chance, another ball in. I think this is Hutchinson with the ball in again, and Burgess meets it. He meets it really well, but Flecken just gets across and saves it with his left foot, where that looked for all the world that was going to be in when you saw him connect with it. And then even after that, Amari Hutchinson again, who had a really good end to the game, puts in a great ball, and George Hurst probably should do better with a header. He sort of gets up high and just heads it straight at the keeper, where I think if he sort of heads it to angles that header at all, he's got a chance of going in. And we ended the game pretty well. And I think that, I know you're sort of scraping around looking for positives a little bit, but reality is, like Brentford, I think that's their fifth win in a row. They're up to 8th in the league. They were much more happy to hear that final whistle than we were, because we were really, the last 20 minutes, it was all us really, and we'd stayed in the game like we did against Everton, which David Moyes spoke about. And yeah, we really, like, had we scored at the end there, I don't think they could have had too many complaints of that finish 1-1, despite dominating large parts of the game. But no, some decent performances. I thought Sam Morsey played really well in the middle, as a couple of people commented there. And Ciso and Hutchinson looked really sort of possessed in the second half as well. I thought they were really, really good. And Hurst came on and did what he does well. And Jacob Greaves at left back had another good solid game there. Got forward well a couple of times. But no, it was a decent game in that sort of period. But it's just that first sort of 60, 70 minutes was just a really, really dull watch at times.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, they kept us at arm's length, didn't they? Yeah, the changes made the difference for us, definitely yesterday.
What I'm feeling, Joe,
and that was, someone mentioned there, George Hurst, when he went through on goal, he got Vandenberg missed it, and he gets through on goal, and I think he thinks he's fouled, but he actually just stumbles or catches his own foot.
I think his standing foot goes, doesn't it? And he absolutely, I think he's going to just
a really good chance. So
that was a classic Delap in that position. He just gets his foot around it and puts it in the corner. It's classic Delap's position, that one, but no, he gets it all wrong.
Were we held at arm's length a bit because of the game state, Dave, that they were able to sit in at 1-0 and maybe there's another gear for these teams?
I think pretty much. Yeah, I think there was that. I agree with Joe Morsey. He had a good game. He's much better. Was certainly against perhaps towards the end. Certainly Damsgaard, I think, goes off with about 10 minutes to go, and against perhaps a slightly tiring midfield they had there, he was much more prominent. Joe said he looked really good. Caillou Taylor, really. Taylor had a good chance first half, didn't he? Where the balls and Ciso works. It's a great Taylor position, for that shot, 25 yards out, and he shanks it wide. He's got to do better there, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's a long way wide as well, wasn't it?
It is, absolutely pulls it wide. Poor technique, really. But no, other than that, I think for the first 70 minutes till the changes, they were comfortable. They kept us at arm's length, but they sort of controlled it really. But then good to see the changes. I thought Clark came on and made an impact again. I thought he did quite well. Hutchinson certainly for the last 20 minutes, last half hour was excellent again. And just a shame that perhaps Hurst couldn't take one of those chances, because probably last 20 minutes he probably deserved the point.
There we go.
We've said that a lot, haven't we?
I was going to say, that's a rinse, repeat, and frustration. The watchword of the day, a 22nd defeat of the Premier League season. Rich has just chimed in the background here. So set play goals conceded. Wolves and Southampton have conceded the most with 19. And then we're actually tied with Arsenal and Man United on 13. So only...
And I imagine, especially Arsenal, we must have faced probably 3 times as many set pieces as they have us.
Oh, so as a percentage, it's probably it's probably a little bit of a better number. But there we go. We'll get into the roundup in a second. Anything more on the game, boys, or am I going to a word from our sponsors?
Get to that sponsor.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thank you to the wonderful people at Atwells, who we are brought to you in partnership with, along with One Stop Badges. Claim your 10% off via the link in the description. Dave is going to be back with Craig on Tuesday for Blue Monday Rewind ahead of the Leicester game this coming weekend. Thursday pre-match will be pre-recorded, not live. West Ham will be live, so you can join Rich and Seb and listen after the fact as normal for the pre-match. On Sunday, I mean, there's good news and bad news here, Dave. We'll be back for the flagship show. Joe Fairs is Foxtrot Oscaring to Dubai. So, Joe, this is actually your last flagship. Put nice comments for Joe in about his brilliant contributions this year. But this is your last show of the year, yeah?
Yeah, my last flagship until the season's over. I'm sure I'll be back over the summer a lot, discussing transfers, squad rules, overviews. But no, the last one sort of covering a game now. So hopefully it won't be another 22 years till we're back in the Premier League. And I'm sitting here with a shirt with a number 62 on the back, covering matches.
There we go.
I can assure you, I won't be here in 22 years' time.
Bloody better be, Dave.
Hopefully not literally on the pod. I don't mean checking out altogether. Hopefully.
Yeah, you better be. If you're breathing, you're on the pod, Dave. That's
remember that.
Them's the rules. Hey, how old was Ray Crawford when he came on?
Oh no, yeah, okay, fine. He's 86, I think. So yeah, just about. Okay, yeah, right.
And he was good. The tech wasn't, he wasn't quite up with the tech.
Was epic.
But yeah, he was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, but I've had a great, enjoyable season, and with all the comments as well. Sort of, there's a great community of people here as well. So it's really
my favourite bit is when you talk about referees, Joe.
Oh yeah, I'm bored of talking about referees. I say I don't enjoy VAR. I don't enjoy VAR as a spectacle stage. So I'm looking forward. To next season, knowing that when the ref decides something is there, and maybe hopefully by the next time we're up there, hopefully in 1 year, not 22 years, they have sort of tweaked it a little bit more, and it is back to that sort of clear and obvious as opposed to 17 slow motion angles to try and find something.
We're going to go to the roundup, and I'm really looking forward to Joe's take on Charlie Kelman's goal for Leyton Orient against Stockport, because we're going to have a look at the playoffs. We will go through the Premier League stuff really quickly. Here is our roundup in association with Innovation Labs. Yeah, I want to talk to you guys about the playoffs. I mean, I know I'm an EFL pervert, but we'll just go through Premier League stuff. Let me know if there's anything you want to mention in there. Round 36 saw this load of results. Fulham 1, Everton 3, Saints 0, Man City 0. Well done, Southampton. Wolves 0, Brighton 2, Bournemouth 0, Villa 1, Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0. That was kind of the only game really that had a kind of head-to-head type feel about it. Man United 0, West Ham 2. You can talk about Man United and Spurs if you want. Are we going to finish one place below Man United? We'd have all taken that at the start of the season, wouldn't we, all Spurs? Forest 2, Leicester 2. They're gaining on us. It's only goal difference now. Spurs 0, Palace 2, Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. Oh, Dave, I stand corrected. There probably is some stuff to talk about then. I still want to hear your take on the playoffs. But you got anything in there you want to mention?
No, not really. I mean, the Leicester's got an intriguing one. I mean, Forest are blowing it, aren't they? I mean, Forest look like
disappointed.
Nailed on, yeah, no, nailed on for that Champions League, a month ago? But in a terrible run at the word.
Did you see what happened at the end of the game as well there?
No, I didn't.
Marinakis decided to come onto the pitch and start
I heard that.
Remonstrating at Nuno on the pitch, in the middle of the pitch, which Nuno didn't look too happy about. So
love that.
Yeah,
we love that.
And that Leicester looked like they were going to win it at the end there. They had that 15-year-old on Jeremy Monga who had a
15.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, had a really good chance, and keeper Sells made a great save.
Would that have made him the youngest ever Premier League scorer?
Surely,
yeah, it must be. Yeah,
easily.
Yeah,
was it Milner?
Yeah, Milner. I think or James Vaughan. It might be actually. It was
James. I think James Vaughan. I did have it. I'm sure once.
But
Giselle
Giselle
is
still the youngest top division goal scorer. Monga would have been. would have been younger than him if he scored. And he's played like the last 4 or 5 games. He's come on for like 15, 20 minutes in them. Yeah, no, had that. But like I say, next week we really make sure we finish above Leicester. So we've got to win next week.
Did I read somewhere that the difference finishing 18th or 19th is something like £3 million? Yeah,
it's like over £3 million.
Oh, that's every place, Dave.
Well,
over £3 million a place. Yeah, that's a big chunk of money, isn't it, for next season?
It's a big chunk.
We're back in that's Alex Palmer's probably signing transfer fee and wages for a year, isn't it? As a player of that quality,
Oh, it's not going to cover all the clean sheet bonuses, Joe, is it?
No,
We want
not
it.
there.
Yeah.
But you're talking like 2 million, a 2 million fee
Yes.
and 20 grand a week for a year. That's another loan player at that level, isn't it?
Yeah, we got. Yeah,
No,
we want to go. We want to
it's
go
all
there and win.
Clean money on FFP as well. So yeah,
Want to
you
go
really,
there and win next week, don't we? We really do. We really do. But
you really do.
we really do.
Where we're going, Dave, there was some really important games in the playoffs, which I have been across, and very surprising. For the first time since 2008, Dave, 2 away wins in leg 1.
No way.
Yeah,
Seriously.
First time since 2008. Yeah,
incredible.
So for all those lovely people who like to tell me the playoffs are a lottery, they're not, but that's my soapbox for every year.
Sheffield United are virtually there,
yeah,
aren't they?
They're 3-0 up, so they're virtually through. And a lot of people have kind of been saying in the comments week on week, Dave, we'll just get all the parachute teams out, get Sheffield United promoted. Coventry, Sunderland's a little bit in the balance. And
I don't see that one. I watched most of that game. I don't see that one being over by any means, that game. I don't think. I mean, obviously,
it's interesting. Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Alan Kirbishley v George Burley, where you're watching this thing unfold and you're like, oh, the pretty football team are going to get beaten by the stoic tournament team here, aren't they? When they got that counter attack,
Sunderland are going to be able to set up. Sunderland aren't going to be able to set up like they set up on Friday night in a home game. I just don't think their crowd would have it because
good point.
They were so defensive and deep, weren't they? And they're just trying to hit on the break. But I don't think the crowd.
I can counter that. I did Sunderland Middlesbrough, which was at the SOL early in the season, and they did pretty much. It wasn't quite so tournament and defensive, but they sat in a 4-4-2 and let Middlesbrough pass the ball in front of them, scored a goal, and won the game.
If you start like that and after 25 minutes you better go your half and Coventry have scored the first goal, then it's going to be...
Yeah, then it's all changed, isn't it?
You're walking a real tightrope, aren't you, there? But yeah, it does look... Sheffield United look miles better than all the teams in the playoffs, don't they?
They are. 92 points
City
across
there with 68 points.
Yeah, 68. And
showed, didn't it? Showed.
So yeah, the likelihood is Sheffield United have re-established them, if they weren't already, as favourites. And from League One, I don't know if anyone's been following it. I think it was 0-0.
I watched some of that today. That was a dreadful game.
Wickham
and Charlton. Where was it, Joe? So it was Wickham. So we've still got it. So Charlton are favourites really with one-off game. And
playoff games you expect that one, Ben. Just a real drab game, just waiting for the second leg. It was one of those.
I bloody love it though. I love the chess game in
Jeopardy.
Tournaments. Yeah, I love the Jeopardy. Always under 1.5 goals, isn't it? And Orient 2, Stockport 2. So yeah, I suppose Joe, you'd have a Stockport Charlton final at the moment.
Yeah, but I don't think it's quite as clear cut as that. But Stockport, that game was on where I was before the game yesterday, so I was sort of half keeping an eye on it. But Stockport seemed absolutely dominant in that game over Leyton Orient for the majority of it, and that was at Orient. But talking about referees, that first goal there is the ball is fixed on here is 3 yards offside, and how the linesman and ref don't see it between them. It was such a bad decision. So Stockport must have been putting their hair out, but they look a good side, Stockport. So I think it will be, I'd say Stockport, probably Charlton in the final.
Frozen in the playoffs before Stockport tend to have done automatic promotions. But sitting here right now, Dave, would you be disappointed to see the back of Sheffield United? Would you like to sign some of the Coventry players? And would you be disappointed to see Charlton again?
Yes to all those, I think, Ben. Absolutely right. Yeah, Coventry got some nice players. They play some nice stuff the other night. I felt for the fullback, the no-look back pass.
No, he's
great
really
finish
good
though,
as well.
What great! How composed was the finish though? Really good finish.
It wasn't a no-look back pass.
Well,
and then still did it.
You're right.
Bounced Joe though, wasn't it?
I just assumed it was, but
dear.
you're probably right, Joe. It was deliberate, so that was a shocker. But no, absolutely would love to. I think we've all said, and you've said right the way through, Ben, that get rid of another parachute team and get them out of the division. So and if you think, what would it be, a Stockport or a Charlton? Well, whatever sort of thing, So go with it.
And it just feels, Joe, that we're already going to get a lot of nuisance from Birmingham. Definitely, Wrexham are going to be. I reckon they'll be quite hard work, especially if you have to play them in August. And people I don't know if they're deaf info, people keep telling me the first game's definitely going to be Wrexham Ipswich on the Friday night at the start of August to kick off. So we could do with at least one soft team coming up from League One, Joe, can we?
Yeah, and from watching the playoffs, I don't think any of those are going to be, as is normal, teams from League One to the Premier League. We were the first team that had finished in the top half of the Championship for 4 or 5 years, weren't we?
No, Sunderland went playoff to playoffs in
Sunderland did one, but
22.
But most teams have been like, they're just
they're the only one, Joe.
They're the only ones, weren't they?
The
So
outlier,
I don't think it's a big leap to suggest that the 4 playoff teams would be teams that would be looking to try and in the first instance trying to establish themselves in the Championship, as opposed to looking at the other end of the table, which Birmingham definitely will be.
They're going to be
huge
good.
Money in. Wrexham seem to. It's hard to know with Wrexham because whilst people talk about them spending a lot of money, when you actually look at their squad and you see like they're all good players, Ollie Rathbone, Jay Rodriguez, Jack Marriott, and all these guys. But how many of them would you actually, if you were a mid-table Championship club, would you actually even want any of these players at the time? So I think they've got a whole new team to build when they get up here. So I don't think it's going to be quite as clear cut.
Yeah,
for
Birmingham
them.
haven't.
Just to carry that. No, Birmingham haven't, and also they've got huge amounts of sort of fake, cheat spending power behind them, and they're going to the Man City school of FFP accounting in there, where their sponsors are giving them a £10 million for the naming rights of the ground, and I bet no one in the comments could even tell you what the ground is now called. So I don't think
Nighthead Park at St Andrews, yeah,
but I mean, I don't think that £10 million has been well spent for them to increase their brand awareness of it. So,
no.
But we're going to have to deal with it. Like I say, I don't have any complaints with it. It just makes me laugh when Birmingham, oh no, we have got really good commercial deals and we are doing really well. It's like, no, your owners are just giving you money. That's fine. don't pretend that's not what's happening. But that's fine. I have no problems with owners pumping money in. I think they should be allowed to. If they've got the money, they should be allowed to spend. I don't really like the financial rules as they are, but yeah, they are going to be a big challenge. They come up. They got 111 points, didn't they?
That's
so 13 points more than we did when we came out of League One, and yeah, it's
10 more than Plymouth, eh? How about that?
5
Dave,
more than Reading.
Just quickly touch on mid-table in the Championship. Your good friends up the road are still without manager and won't be hiring Jack Wilshere and haven't hired my mate Russ or Marty Cifuentes yet.
Not
Your thoughts?
No, they haven't. I know I think it was half tongue-in-cheek that some of the fans after the 4-2 win up, I think it was Cardiff, who had a player who had down to 10 men as well. Let's get Jack in. Let's get Jack appointed. So I don't think realistic that was ever going to happen. So yeah, watch that with interest.
With Liam Manning, which I don't quite see why he'd want to leave from Bristol City, but his stock is very high. He's
from like Bungay, isn't he? So sort of
from this way, isn't he? Our academy, and also it'd be interesting to see how soon the outs depart, because you'd think that certainly Sargent and Saints is going to go, and I think there's talk of Nunes possibly going as well. So they're three big players for them that seemingly will be on the way out. Yeah. And talk about potential ins for Town. Aaron Cresswell for a season, anybody?
Get him in there.
Superb last Sunday. He's one of their better players last Sunday.
Is he not going to be too expensive on the old salary, Joe?
Well, been a great sign for West Ham, wasn't he? 11 seasons.
Oh, man. Wow. Unbelievable.
I think
seriously, though, to Dave's point, Joe, where's he going to go?
Pretty much.
Is he a Scouser?
Tranmere at Birkenhead when he's
36 now, isn't he? But he might just retire. I don't think he's probably got any financial needs to continue playing.
I doubt it.
I know it's a fairly scratch, and I summed up that game last Sunday, didn't I? Scratch Spurs side he was up against, but he just
maybe that's one that Wrexham look at when
experienced, accomplished, whatever. Yeah, just quality still.
If he wants to move back up to the northwest and just get some decent money and playing. Some good crowds there. That might not be a bad move for him up there.
Good shout, that, Joe.
He's not going to get a Premier League side, isn't he? I think, and he'd be a fantastic signing where he does go, because he is still that really, really good professional. It's just not what we need. Because sort of Connor Townsend, we've already got that experienced, versatile left back there, haven't we?
But he's had 12 seasons has he had there? I mean, as Joe said, he must 36. It must have more than comfortably made his money. So I'm sure he could simply just retire somewhere quietly.
Happy days. I'm going to do something that Dave loves. I'm going to give him an excuse to talk for 90 seconds about George Burley, who I always say he's not the greatest player at the club, and he's not the greatest manager at the club. But when you combine the two, in terms of like a Hall of Fame Ipswich career, it's hard to beat, isn't he, Dave? And he's had some good news.
Yeah, that's brilliant news.
You combine the two, you might have him at number one, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
he's been involved with more Ipswich games than anyone.
813.
I always make this point. You can go just
you
behind Marcus
you make a very, very valid point. But what you were intimating, getting out there, is we learned yesterday, I think the news broke, that he had the all clear from his recent illness or cancer, wasn't it? I think last year. So he's had the all clear from that. I've seen it. I think I've seen him about. Actually, he looks well. Certainly looks a hell of a lot better, as you'd expect. So that's absolutely brilliant news. And as you quite rightly said, Ben, a total bona fide Ipswich legend, for goodness sake, up there with the pick of them.
Yeah, he came into Simon Milton introduced him using the Bob Robson suite yesterday to.
How did he look?
Yeah, really, really well. And
Yeah.
like so Milts, because he was sort of saying, "Oh, we've had some guests this year, but for me, this is like Mr. Ipswich is coming in." I was thinking, who on earth is he talking about? Because I couldn't think who it would be. I was thinking like Walkie's here already, and then when he said Burley, I was like, "Oh yeah, of course it is George." And he came in and he said he'd had the all clear 2 weeks ago, and spoke brilliantly. What Collins mentioned there, making his debut against George Best and coming down to Ipswich at like 15, always wanted to get back here, and sort of the job he did as manager. And I'm currently reading his All to Play For book, which we had the author come on and do that. Is it Neil Prentice? Was it? I can't remember the exact name, but that's a fantastic book. Yeah, I finally I got it for Christmas and just sitting there reading a couple of bits a night on that. So yeah, I'd highly recommend that to anyone who hasn't managed to get a copy of that as yet.
Right, let's get into some questions. You got like a 25-second limit per question, YouTube. Did you roll your eyes preemptively then, Dave, at me giving you the limit? You just knew it was coming, didn't you?
I'm surprised we got 25 seconds, to be honest.
Right, where do we start? Gary, Joe, next season, keep with one up front or change to a two?
Well, we struggle to sign strikers every window when we only need one. So I don't think we're not going to be able to sign the 5 or so. We'd need to cover 2. So let's stick to 1.
Norman, I'll take this one. Ben, I believe you said last season was one of the strongest championships. How did this season compare? How strong do you think next season will be? The difficulty with defining the championship as strong, Norman, is what do you mean by strong? It was strong in terms of the area of the table we were in, that you need an excessively high points total to win automatic promotion, which we did absolutely brilliantly. Although we're now to the point of, is it an outlier? Is English football that broken now that the expectation is for a parachute team in the championship to actually have to score 95 points to get promoted as opposed to 90 or 92, whatever it is? So what I will say is there's no mid-table anymore. Last 2 seasons, we've had the same thing. Lots of points into the top 4, high tide at the bottom, nothing in the middle. So basically, you're either battling relegation, you're a playoff team, or you've got 85 plus points. So I don't know whether that makes it very strong because you have to win 25, 28 games to get promoted, or very weak because it's not competitive. But I don't want to go down our rant about English football and the stupidity of all of it, and the fact that we're moving from one incredibly doped bent league into another. But we're going to be on the right side of the incredibly doped bench.
I guess just to follow up another question for you, Ben, on that. Do you see any of those teams from like 5th to 12th being in a position where they're going to get an extra 20 points next year to compete
20?
For the top 2? Well, that's what they're going to need, aren't they?
Yeah.
These teams 69, 68, 67. Do you see any of those going from where they are to 87 next year?
It's difficult because it doesn't depend on the individual teams. It depends on how the whole table flows as one. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, is there anyone you think is going to break out and make that move? Yeah.
Middlesbrough could go to 75, 80 points. West Brom obviously need a manager, don't they? Bristol City could improve under Manning for the stability. But when you put it like that and you say 20 points, it feels impossible, doesn't it? That someone's going to jump up 20 points. Because as you pointed out, especially for playoff teams, you know what's about to happen to 3 of the teams that lose in the playoffs. All of their best players are getting sold, probably to Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. Pillaged. Anyway, sorry. Did I break my own 50-second rule there?
Absolutely. Went a minute and 25. I've got you out there.
There's one about academy status, which I have an update on.
Go on, Joe.
Where's that, Neil? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's-
Go on,
Yeah,
right,
so
Dave.
yeah.
category
Dave, you
one
can come in
status.
next. I apologise.
Yeah,
So in the last week, it was sort of released on Training Ground Guru that I think Birmingham and Burnley have been confirmed at category one, and there was 4 or 5 other teams that have either been confirmed at moving up categories or have tried to move up and have had their one rejected. But Ipswich is the only one on there where they've had an audit and there's going to be a further audit to decide whether we can make it, which like none of us know the process, but it sounds like maybe we were very close and we just needed to get a couple of things in place and they just want to come back and check we've got it. So it does sound positive in that regard. A couple of people have said maybe there was a couple of staff roles that we were trying to fill, and we now just need to show that we have filled them. And if it is that, you assume that we are going to have ticked off what we needed. So fingers crossed, we'll hopefully be at category one next season.
Dave, is it time to give Hurst a start? Oh, we are saying.
On the evidence of yesterday, I'd say yes. Look, it may have just been perhaps a one-off. I'm sure Delap was perhaps better. I'm sure he was better against Everton the week before, but yeah, he was just basically off it yesterday. So yeah, I think perhaps the time is right to give Hurst a start, and it wouldn't surprise me next Sunday.
Right, Dave, you can do 2 in a row, being we took 3 without you. Is it time to probably expand our scouting network? Well, we talked about this.
I think we covered this big yes to that. I think we've been sadly lacking in that. All right, I suppose we got Cuse down on loan, but that was only because he was virtually had a foot in with Brentford, but then obviously they weren't keen on his medical history, which in hindsight they were probably wise not to. So yeah, that's pretty much been the extent of it, hasn't it? So yes, very much so.
Let me take this. Any players from Luton you think would be a good fit for Town? Now, you've got to be very clear on what you want from our recruitment. Do you want players to get us, if it's 95 points next season and get us out the Championship and pad out that squad, knowing that you're then going to spend big after you get promoted? Or do you want players to play 40 games for us and then start in the Premier League next season? You're not going to get them from Luton, but what you do have in Luton is a massive underachievement, a squad that shouldn't have been relegated, that's been relegated. So there's going to be really good value in terms of picking up players who are ready for the Championship. Obviously, the 2 strikers, Morris and Adebayo. I'm sure Isaiah Jones would have a relegation release clause, and there's a player McKenna would do wonders with, someone who's got one clear skill but needs kind of a bit of help. He could be lethal, absolutely lethal. Always like Taif Chong. And Thello Asgard, who's young and came up from Wigan in League One, if you want more of a 8, number 10 kind of creative goal-getting player, has actually been one of their better players. Mark McGuinness has actually been very good, but they spent 10 million quid on him as well.
And also, they're still in receipt of parachute payments, so they probably don't have as much financial pressure to give players away, do they? Like some
Alfie Doughty is also like the set play best crosser. I know Luton did everything through him. Yes, he has. But a lot of these players can easily get a move. And
did they pay significant money for Jones, or was he
5 million in January?
Okay,
surely with release.
I guess you also, when people are talking about do you recruit for like the season after next, you do have to just make sure you get out of the Championship next year. That is the most important thing. You can't sort of put the cart before the horse, can you? And start thinking about, obviously,
Joe,
ideally you players to do it, but you've got to make sure first.
But
part
Joe,
of the job
if there is a Morris Adebayo, like Morris is horrible. He's like exactly everything you were talking, yapping at the referee all game, really strong, really physical. He's got 20 Championship goals before. You might be able to get him cheaply. Do you want that player in your squad or not? Forget Liam Delap and 20 million quid strikers. Do you want to just bulk out your squad with players who know the league and can do well that you can get right now?
And for me, you do,
yeah.
It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one actually, Ben, because you think of the analogy. Would those, if we hadn't have got up last year, so say we had just missed out, do you think those would have still had so many of those League One players around the squad still?
What do you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you think so? I don't know. Who knows? But I suppose contract-wise, perhaps, yes, pushed again. But if they hadn't have been quite good enough to get us over the line last year, Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
but
one or
then
two would.
we would add a
maybe
big-
one or two not.
Big chunk of money for selling Leif Davis to spend, wouldn't we? Probably fixing the FFP the other way around. Right, really quickly, Paul, we'll have a bit of fun with this. What is the panel's favourite holiday destination? Don't shout at me, but I'm a south of France guy because my missus doesn't like frying, so she's like the Dennis Bergkamp of the Blue Monday wags here. So I've got to drive down, so it'd be Cassis in the south of France. Joe, you better say Dubai, being you're off there.
Yeah, that's where I'm there this week. So better that. Hopefully that will be that. No, we've been there a few times before, but this is the first time with kids, so hopefully they can cope with the heat.
Very
like
nice. Portugal, Villamora, probably down there somewhere.
There you go.
Nice.
Very nice, but there are plenty of wonderful holidays you can have in England without our Ponzi destinations. And I'll be going to Chichester yet again this summer.
I spend most of my time
holidays.
at the Wild Duck. That's where most
There
of my
you go.
holidays are.
Yeah, we're doing exactly the same thing there, aren't we? Guys, thank you so much. We've gone over the hour mark. Last word from you, Dave, and then we can get sign off from Joe.
Yeah, no, good. Well done, Joe. Happy birthday again, and look forward to catching up with you at some point, no doubt, in the summer, Joe.
Joe, imagine you've just been subbed off and you're applauding the crowd. You can probably do a bit of an ostentatious walk off and turn to all four corners. Say goodbye to the greatest audience in podcast land.
But just thanks for everybody for listening, contributing, helping make the show what it is. There could be no one in the audience, and I'd still sit here and talk about Ipswich Town for too long every Sunday night. But it's nice that people actually listen to me talk about it as opposed to me just talking to a brick wall about it instead.
Brilliant stuff. Have an amazing time in Dubai. We will be back next week for the Leicester City flagship. See you then.